All right, so I got a little bit cut off on the last round, so we'll just redo this slide here. So in terms of tools for assessing fat intake, there are a variety of terms that we can use on food labels as nutrient content claims in order to talk about fat and cholesterol on food. So we can call something fat-free if it contains less than 0.5 grams of fat per serving, low fat if there are 3 grams or less per serving, and reduced fat if it's 25% less or serving than regular or reference product. So a great classic example of this is whole milk contains 8 grams of fat per cup. Reduced fat contains around 5 grams of fat per cup. Low fat will contain 3 grams per cup, and then fat-free or skim milk is going to contain 0 grams of fat per cup. You can call something saturated fat-free or trans fat-free as well as if there's less than 0.5 grams per serving. Low saturated fat if there's 1 gram or less of saturated fat and less than 15% of calories from saturated fat per serving. You can call something cholesterol-free if there's less than 2 milligrams of cholesterol and less than 2 grams or equal to 2 grams of saturated fat per serving. Low cholesterol if there's 20 milligrams or less and 2 grams or less of saturated fat per serving. Reduced or less cholesterol, we use that 25% rule again, 25% less than the original product. Lean if there's less than 10 grams of fat, 4.5 grams or less of saturated fat, and less than 90 milligrams of cholesterol per serving or per 100 grams, which is a little less than 4 ounces. So it's about 3.5 ounces. And then extra lean needs to contain less than 5 grams of fat, less than 2 grams of saturated fat, and less than 95 milligrams of cholesterol per serving and per 100 grams. So in conclusion, if we're thinking about how to choose fats and cholesterol, we want to, one, make sure to limit our intake of cholesterol, trans fat, and saturated fat. And as I mentioned before, cholesterol is kind of coming into being a little more okay to eat. So you want to choose low-fat milk and yogurt, trim the fat from your meat, make sure you're serving chicken and fish, but don't have the skin of the chicken and fish. Cut in half your usual amount of butter or use soft margarine, not stick margarine, because that contains trans fat. And then watch fast food choices. So choose things like grilled over burgers, skip sauces, things like mayonnaise and ranch dressing can really pile on the fat. And then also, if we go back to the carbs chapter, something like ketchup is going to be, mostly sugar and salt. You want to increase the proportion of poly and monounsaturated fats, especially under polyunsaturated fat, the omega-3 kind that turns into the EPA and the DHA in our body. So in order to do that, you can snack on nuts and seeds, add olives and avocados to salads, use olive, peanut, or canola oil for cooking and salad dressing, and use corn, sunflower, or safflower oil for baking. But make sure to balance those out with maybe some flaxseed oil, some mackerel, lake trout, sardines, tuna, or salmon, and add some walnuts to cereals or salads or things as well in order to up that omega-3 intake. So in terms of reduced fat foods, so reduced fat foods either have fat removed, fat replaced, or contain fats that cannot be digested or absorbed. So fat substitutes could be carbohydrate-based or protein-based or fat-based. Fat substitutes that are fat-based, such as Olestra, which is this sucrose polyester, can reduce the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and can also cause some really negative symptoms. So Olestra containing potato chips and things like that, like called Wow chips, they actually have a little warning on the back that says may cause anal leakage. So you end up with these watery stools that can't really be controlled by the nervous system like regular excretion of feces can. And so Olestra has gotten a lot of press for that reason, especially around the mid 90s it became popular. When we choose a lean meat, we want to choose percentage by weight and percentage by calories. So as we look at our leanness, right, you can see 85% lean means the percentage by weight. When we look at how much fat there is, it means percentage by calories. So when we're not including the water, we're really just looking at protein and fat, and it's actually much higher proportion of protein slash fat than it is when we look at the water. So, and we'll finish off with this egg a day. Is an egg a day okay or is it not okay? I think the jury's sort of still out, but the dietary guidelines say that as long as you don't have a familial genetic history of high cholesterol, then an egg a day or even 2 eggs a day is all right. So if you do have a family history of high cholesterol or cardiovascular disease, you might want to have eggs a couple times a week, and then other days of the week maybe choose a high soluble fiber cereal such as oatmeal or something.